In this video, we are going to walk through a DOM cross-site scripting challenge where the goal is to steal session cookies. We'll learn three important things. First, what cookies are and why attackers want them. Second, how cross-site scripting works. And third, how attackers can exfiltrate data to an external server using different techniques. So by the end of this video, we'll see how one small input vulnerability can lead to session hijacking. First, let's talk about cookies because they are central to this attack. So when you log into a website, the server usually gives your browser a small piece of data called a session cookie. For example, a session cookie might look like this. Think of a cookie like a temporary ID badge. Instead of asking you to log in on every page, the website checks that cookie and says, okay, this request belongs to the logged in user. So every time your browser loads a page, it sends something like this. If an attacker steals that cookie, they can pretend to be you without knowing your password. And that is session hijacking. So that's why cookies are valuable targets. Now let's look at the lab. So in this challenge, we are automatically logged in as administrator. The page shows that our session cookies include things like session ID, user role, or authentication token. But the important part is the message parameter. So this page, the vulnerable page, accepts a message parameter and displays it without proper sanitization. Whatever we put in the message parameter will be displayed on the page, and that's where the vulnerability comes from. If the application doesn't sanitize the input properly, we might be able to inject JavaScript code. So that's what cross-site scripting is. Before we run the attack, we need somewhere to receive the stolen data. For this lab, we'll use webhook.site. This site gives us a temporary URL that will capture any HTTP request sent to it. So when we open webhook.site and copy the unique URL, the URL is basically our listener. So whenever our malicious script runs, it will send the cookies to this URL. Let's test our vulnerable site. So this is our vulnerable page. Now in the URL, I'm going to type this. Maybe I'll give it any message. When we press enter, we see the message on the page. That means the site isn't sanitizing the input properly. So we are able to put our message on the page. And that's what makes it vulnerable. Now we have to start building our payload. But there's one thing we need to understand first. That is URL encoding. Sometimes characters like these or spaces or quotes can break a URL. For example, if you try to input raw HTML directly into the browser's address bar, the browser might truncate or modify it. So security testers often URL encode payloads. So for example, this becomes this becomes this, and a space becomes this. So example, with this code, if it's been URL encoded, it becomes this. This ensures that the browser sends the exact payload to the server. And there are a lot of tools that can do this automatically, but it's just helpful to understand what's happening. Now over here, the lab gives us step 3, which is craft your cookie stealing payloads. So it gives us different example payloads to help steal the cookies. We just have to replace your webhook URL, this part, with the actual webhook URL. But this time we're going to be using the URL encoded version instead of just the plain URL. Now I'm going to go to webhook.site. And this is our webhook web address. This is what we need. So I'm going to copy this, and I already have it saved in a file. So this is the exact same thing. This is the exact same thing I just copied. You'll notice that what we just copied is longer than what I have in my text file. And that's because it includes a viewer page, the viewer page where we watch the incoming requests. So here on this page, we are on this request page. And this request page ID in the URL is this part. But for the attack, we only need the unique webhook ID, which is this part here. This part is the actual endpoint that receives the request. So I'll just close the old request that I have. And we see here, it says waiting for first request. So now we have to proceed with our attack. Now the first thing we're going to do is the basic cookie stealing method. So our first payload will use an image error event. We're going to be using this syntax for our command, or what we need, the message that we need in our URL. So for this line, the image source here doesn't exist. So when we run this, the browser will trigger one error, or on error, sorry. And when the error happens, JavaScript will run document.cookie, which will read the cookies. And then fetch will send them to our webhook.site, our webhook site. I'm going to copy this, the syntax. And in the text file here, I'm going to paste it. Now here we see your webhook URL, and that's what we have to replace. So I'll copy the URL for webhook and paste it here. So this is going to be our payload. This will replace the message parameter in the URL here. But then, like I said earlier, we have to encode it. And I already generated the encoded URL. So over here, I have my encoded URL. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it. And when we press enter, the image fails. But the on error event runs. And then JavaScript sends the cookies to our webhook. So when we check webhook, we see this request, the get cookies request. Now the cookies here appear empty because the browser rejected them for security reasons. The cookies are likely protected using HTTP only or browser security policies, and that prevents JavaScript from reading them. But the important thing is that JavaScript executed successfully. So next, I'm going to try the advanced cookie stealing method using the script tag. And like I said earlier, I already have the encoded version of the URL that we need. So here, I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now this time when the browser sends a post request to our webhook, inside our webhook website, inside the request body, we are going to see cookies equal nothing, right? Empty. Again, the cookies are empty because of the browser's protection. But the important thing here is that JavaScript executed and data was exfiltrated to an external server. The next thing I'll try is the stealth cookie stealing method. Again, this is the syntax for the command. We replace this part with our webhook URL, but it should be encoded, and I already have that. So I'll copy this and paste it here. Now what this does is, instead of sending the cookies directly, it will encode them in base 64. It will encode them in base 64. And then it loads an invisible image. And then it sends the encoded cookies to the URL on webhook. So when I press enter, again, like I said, the image is invisible. But when we go here to webhook, we get this see empty request. This method is stealthy because it does not visibly affect the page. We'll try the last method, which is the complete session hijacking method. It's a more advanced payload. This one collects more information. I already have the encoded version generated here, so I'll just copy this and I'll paste it here. When I press enter, we see nothing here, but when we go to webhook, it shows the options request first, an options request first. Now that happens because the browser performs a coarse pre-flight check before sending a certain cross-origin post request. Now coarse decides whether one website is allowed to request data from another website. Now if you look here, our vulnerable page runs on HTTP, but our payload sends data to an HTTPS site. And these are two different origins, so the browser applies the coarse rules to it. So in this lab, we demonstrated DOM or DOM cross-site scripting vulnerability, JavaScript injection, data exfiltration to an external server, and multiple attack techniques. Even though the cookies were empty, the payloads executed exactly as an attacker would expect. This lab shows how dangerous cross-site scripting vulnerabilities can be. In a real vulnerable website, the attacker can receive cookies like this and then log in as that user. That is why modern websites use protections like HTTP only cookies or same site policies or content security policies. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.